Good morning and welcome to our TED Talk. Today, Josie and I are going to be discussing dysarthria. Dysarthria is a weakness and incoordination due to some type of neurological damage. It can either be caused by weak musculature needed for speech or difficulty controlling the muscles. Either way, this can cause slower, slurred, and unintelligible speech.
Dysarthria is caused by some type of neurological damage. These damages can cause facial paralysis and weakness of the tongue and throat muscles. Common causes of dysarthria include neurological disorders such as strokes, cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injury, Parkinson's, complications from surgery, brain tumors, myasthenia gravis, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, Huntington's, Guillain-Barré, and Lyme disease.
There are 4 different ways in which speech can be affected by dysarthria: respiration, phonation, resonation, and articulation. If the muscles of respiration are affected, the individual will likely have decreased breath support. Exhaled air is the energy that is used to create speech. If weakened muscles restrict an individual from taking a full breath, it decreases the energy that they have for speech. This can cause low intensity or volume of speech and also leads to shorter phrases and constant pauses. When the vocal folds or other muscles of phonation are affected, speech becomes breathy. This can be caused by unilateral or bilateral vocal fold paralysis. When the muscles that move the vocal folds are weak, they are not able to adduct and abduct as quickly as they need to. Therefore, there is not enough vibration occurring and the voice sounds weak. When dysarthria affects resonation, it typically causes hypernasality. During the speech production of most phonemes, the soft palate moves up and back to form a velopharyngeal seal and block off the nasal cavity. When muscle tone is weak and the soft palate can't move to form this seal, air can escape through the nasal cavity. The final way that speech is affected by dysarthria is through articulation. Weakness and incoordination of articulators such as the tongue, lips, and jaw impact speech by distorting consonants. When they are unable to move correctly or they come together imprecisely, sounds often become misshapen and sound distorted or slurred. It is important to note that not all 4 of these areas have to be affected to have dysarthria. All 4 may be affected in some diagnosed individuals, but others may only find difficulties in one, depending on where their muscle weakness is.
The 7 types of dysarthria are flaccid, spastic, ataxic, unilateral upper motor neuron, hypokinetic, hyperkinetic, and mixed dysarthria. Flaccid dysarthria is damage to cranial nerves, spinal nerves, or the neuromuscular junction. Symptoms include breathy phonation, hypernasality, shallow breathing, and abnormal prosody. Spastic dysarthria is bilateral damage to upper motor neurons of pyramidal and extrapyramidal system. This is a brainstem stroke. Symptoms include harsh phonation, imprecise consonants, hyponasality, and abnormal prosody. Ataxic dysarthria is damage to the cerebellum or neural tracts that connect the cerebellum to the central nervous system. Individuals may seem drunk and have problems controlling timing or force, or use imprecise consonants, disordered vowels, or have irregular articulatory breakdown. Unilateral upper motor dysarthria is damage to the upper motor neurons. This is characterized by imprecise consonants, irregular articulatory breakdowns, or harsh vocal quality. Hypokinetic dysarthria is a reduction of dopamine in basal ganglia. The most common cause is Parkinson's disease. Characteristics are reduction in range and speed of speech movements, harsh or breathy phonation, imprecise consonants, and abnormal prosody. Hyperkinetic dysarthria is damage to ganglia, and the cause is sometimes unknown. Characteristics are involuntary movements, unexpected inhalation and exhalation, irregular articulatory breakdown, and abnormal prosody. Mixed dysarthria is neurological damages that extend to more than one part of the motor system. Symptoms may include combinations of the previous 6 pure dysarthrias.
There are many techniques to use in therapy for clients who exhibit signs of dysarthria. When creating a lesson plan and choosing your therapy techniques, it is important to consider the client and their unique challenges and deficits. Some techniques may not be appropriate for some clients, whether it be too challenging, too simple, or just not targeting the proper system. Some of the more common therapy strategies include strengthening oral musculature. This could be done through apps such as Smalltalk or even through non-speech oral motor exercises. Increasing breath support is another technique that is primarily used for those individuals with dysarthria affecting their respiratory system. This can be targeted through correcting posture and learning to use full lung capacity. Reducing the rate of speech is another technique that is used to increase intelligibility. By teaching the client to slow down, it will give them more time to correctly place articulators and get their muscles moving to shape each phoneme. Rushing through speech, especially when it already sounds slurred, will only make it more unintelligible to listeners. Teaching clients to produce syllables one by one is another strategy to use during intervention. Oftentimes, shorter words are easier to say, while longer and more complex words become more difficult. Producing one syllable at a time breaks the word down in order to make it easier for the client to get a grasp on. When doing this strategy, the clinician should pick a multisyllabic word, such as ladybug. The client would first work on saying lay, then lady, and then ladybug. Speech-language pathologists can also use consonant exaggeration in their own speech and then have their clients mimic this. This tactic focuses on clearly saying each initial, medial, and final consonant in a word. By emphasizing sounds that are slurred or jumbled and difficult to understand, it makes the word more intelligible. Using a pacing board is a great tactile technique to use for a client that has trouble slurring their words or even talking too quickly. The pacing board can be used to break up words syllable by syllable or break up sentences word by word. Each syllable or each word has a big dot or an image over it. When the client says the word or sentence, they have to tap each syllable or word as they go. By doing this, they can pace themselves to 1, speak slower, and 2, force themselves to articulate each phoneme or say each word in the sentence as opposed to slurring over it.
Dysarthria can affect the individual in many ways. Individuals may experience discomfort in everyday life. They may shy away from social interaction due to limited intelligibility and naturalness of speech. And they may experience loss of independence if they need assistance with activities of daily living such as eating. When a caregiver is given the responsibility, they may have to give up a part of their life to take care of a loved one by helping them with daily activities and transporting them to different activities in therapy sessions. They will have to learn different ways to communicate with the individuals as well, and they may become frustrated with the individual.